Okay, so I was saying that for the moderation of any of the YALDA short courses, uh, one thing that we want to do is to engage the participants, because this is a NFCFTA short course about the Africa trade agreement. So you must say something to Africa, and the good thing is that we have some music that connects with the entire of Africa. Like this one is part of was it for AFCON? Yeah, it has been done by some Moroccans, and I think it's a good music. So this will be played at the introduction part where people are joining the session. The music will be playing there. For this runs for almost it should be four to 47 minutes. So as they join, before you start the moderation, this will be played. After it stops, then it means that now it's time to start the moderation, call participants, good morning, things like that, good evening from where you are. That's like an etiquette that you should do. Yeah, you are. What's your name? Like for you, I'm Pasi Gabon Shue from Botswana. I'll be a moderator for this session. Then, of course, I'll now be moving to the next slide. That will be done when this presentation, when this is on display. So that's the time you'll be introducing yourself. Uh, mm, then the next part is the etiquette. So what comes after that introduction? You've introduced yourself as the moderator. There is the etiquette, and this will be displayed on the screen. And also you'll have this document, so you can just review it and just to keep track on what's going, and maybe to maintain. If your video position is better to read from the screen, or maybe if you have something like if you have another screen on your side, you can still read them, so that you are talking to the participants and maybe not reading from maybe your maybe a desk or your palm, something like that. So the next thing, after I've read the etiquette, you'll stress the ones in red. Ensure your camera is off if you're joining it, so that you don't destroy the bandwidth of those other participants, because that might make the video sluggish, or maybe internet bandwidth will be reduced. So everyone who joins the round table, that has been done by Zoom. Everyone who joins is on mute, but you'll find some people who join again and they unmute themselves. So you just remind them that will be on the background and make sure that they are on mute. Then from there you can tell them the questions. They type their questions on the chat box. At the end of the presentations, when the presenters are done, they'll have time, because it runs for 2 hours. They'll have time to ask their questions, and 8 of the speakers will have time to respond to them. And if they're not able to respond to them, any of the conveners or the partners who are attending the session can still respond to that, or it can be carried forward. Then after the etiquette, of course, we'll now go to the short course part. This will just be displayed because this is the poster for module 2. Then we go to the partner section. So for the partner sections, you'll have to call out who are our partners.
Sorry.
Yes.
Can you please go back to the last slide?
This one.
Yeah. So here I'm supposed to just introduce the course today, right?
No, this will just
like
it will just it's just
what module 2 entails.
What module 2 entails, you'll do it later. It's coming up. You can see there are 19 slides.
Okay.
Yeah. There's
okay. Yeah.
So you'll just go to the partners, introduce the FCFTA. These are our partners for this short course. Of course, short course, you already know it's FCFTA short course 2.0. So you'll call out FCFTA Secretariat, UNECA, UNDP, Afrexim Bank, and ITC. If you feel the need to maybe recall on the previous module was done by FCFTA Secretariat, then that's okay. But just recognizing them as the partners, that should do fine. Then you move on to now what's about the short course. So this is the part you're going to like. There are those who have attended the first short course, the first module. There are those who did it in 2022, the other short course. So you'll just be connecting or linking up what's about this short course. The first one was about breaking information asymmetry. So this one is now more about entrepreneurs, implementation of the CFTA, things like that. So you just read out what's the objective there. After that, you have read that. Not made about the graphics, they're just there for display. Then we'll go to this is the learning outcome, mainly the objectives. As you can see, participants understand, that's the intention that participants understand the African Continental Free Trade Area and the instrument provided by the but provide them with the much needed insight so that they're able to leverage the opportunities presented by it. And this is also available on the poster, which they have already seen outside there. So you'll just go through all the objectives, equip them with the necessary skills, explore them to opportunity available to them. Then participants are introduced to potential partners that will help them enable the development of their business, because this module is particularly tied to entrepreneurs. So that's what we're hoping. More of the participants will be entrepreneurs, so those who are starting their SMEs, those who are engaging in implementation of CFT in their countries, or maybe those who want to gain more knowledge after the first short course that was held in 2022. Then after the objectives, so this is now the modules. This the module 1, that's what has been done in the past, the FCFTA Secretariat. And if you got time, you have reviewed it, you have seen what the moderator was doing there, and you find maybe the details of the moderation. Yeah, like for the first course, the first session we had 2 moderators. That was Grant and Joshua. So if you reviewed it, you can get the gist of what's going to go on. Then so you just recall FCFTA Secretariat did this, and that was understanding how to trade under the FCFTA Agreement and Protocol on Women and Duty in Trade, which our participants can still find it on YouTube. You can remind them that if they want to still review it, for those who will be joining this as their first session. As we have, there's no need to tell them that we have 5 sessions, because that information is still ahead there. But for me, I'm just updating it because it will be like, you'll tell them we still have like 5 sessions. So for those who are joining now, they still have four sessions to go. But those who are joining, who did the first session, they can still attend 3 sessions as their will if they have some other engagements at a different time. So they need to attend 4 sessions live. That's what I'm trying to mean for them to go to proceed, or maybe get a certification from this short course. Then you, of course, will call this session. That's tomorrow. UNECA Fast Track FCFTA Implementation. That's the theme. And as I've said, that it happens that this theme was done for the iGood Camp 2024 as the UNECA team was presenting, and this was done by Mokaila. So there's all of them have their different teams, and we have Nahom has a different team. So he'll be the second person presenting, and finally, Mahlet will be doing the last presentation also on a different theme, but they're all tied somehow to this, and maybe just an acceleration of what they presented on the boot camp. Then you'll of course recognize that we are going to have another 3rd session that will be in July 2024 by UNDP Module 3, and you read out the theme. Then you go to Module 4, August, flexing bank, accessing finance, cross-border. Then finally, the final session should be in September, about ITC market access and conditional export.
No battery, please charge.
Of course, these people, all of them are having these sessions mainly at the iBootcamp. To note from our experience in 2022, there might still be another session if participants want to engage. Maybe they want to have that. It's always partners. It's always a live session where we have different people. We can get entrepreneurs, get trade experts, things like that. Then it's always a panel session, so they can engage directly and connect on all the entire short course. That happens at the request of the participants. Then, of course, now this is the part you're asking. So we'll just read through this, what module 1 is all about. Of course, it's already done and it's on YouTube, but you can it's a refresher for those who are attending for the first time, and also just to reconnect those who are joining this as the second session, just to take them back on what was being done in that session. You just read through that. Then to module 2, this is our main session. Of course, you'll have to tell them this is our session today, and that's the theme, and this is what we're going to talk about, and this is what UNECA is looking up to do. And it's noted down there, it's conducted by UNECA. Then we have module 4, module 3. This will be coming on 24th June, and this is what they're going to touch on. Please, guys, after this session, you need to purpose to attend the next session and any other future sessions as we'll having the Flexing Bank coming also with this part on 21st, their team. Then we go to the next one, which is the ITC. They have their team there. Then, of course, that's what they'll be touching on. So you just read out what's there, the information that they're going to present about. Then I think on that, at this point, I'm on slide 13, and we're heading to 19. So are we still together up to that point? Any question, clarification, point of order?
Yes,
Let me know.
no, everything is okay so far.
Okay.
Everything is clear so far.
Okay, great. Then the program now, this is what the short course is going to when the participants are joining this session. Of course, most of them want to get the certification at the end because that's what's in the advert poster, and the intention is also to get them satisfied because young Africans these days, there's that they need to there's a point of recognition that you cannot just say you took this course and there is no certification for that. So that's why this is important for them, and also the conveners, the partners, their logos there. That's it. They can also take part in their inter-county consultations because they have something tied to that. When they're called upon, they can say, okay, this you have already taken part in this, so we can also be helpful when it comes to consultations on the FCFTA. So you just read for them the short course. This will be entirely 5 modules. Yeah, once in every month. Like we had the other one on 29th, this one on 26th, and the coming on the 24th and the 21st. Then going forward. They'll run for 2 hours. You can know the time there to consider because different people are coming from different time zones. Those will be on the West, North, East, Central Africa, Diaspora, South Africa, and Eastern Africa. So there'll be all those participants there, and just let them know. And of course, if they have registered, they've already gotten this the timing. That's just to remind them. Then the module will serve live interactive platform like the session that's the engagement we'll be having, as we have insisted that they have to attend live. And from live session, it means that when they join the session, their email address and names are recorded because they registered. So after the session, we can get the data. Yeah, these were the participants for this session. You can also see if they attended the entire session or some of them just attended 1 minute and dropped out. Like for the past session, we had 263 people joining. But going on, we were seeing like the numbers from 171, 160, 130, fluctuating that way. And of course, it ended up when we were at 116 and 116 something there. But we had 263 people who joined. So you never know if it's the internet. Maybe somebody got to get something, or maybe somebody, those people who are joining just to learn, they don't want to get their certificates. They are coming in just to get one particular session that after this is talked about, okay, they're getting knowledge, and then they wait for the next session. Then to be eligible for the certification, participants must attend at least 4 out of 5 modules. Live 4 out of 5 modules. So for those attending this particular module, you can tell them, and if this is your first module, they need to be considered up to the end because this is a requirement for them to get certification, and they should complete their quizzes and assignments, because this always becomes a challenge, because you find those, if they're not updated that they're attending this as the first session and they have to do them to the last session, they might think this is now their first, and they have time to maybe miss another session. So just you can stress on that. Then it's still the same thing, interactive Q&A session that will be there. Zoom has the chat box, people can keep chatting, remarks. If anybody wants to highlight, you can also be after some time you can just remind them. You can drop your questions there, and there'll be time for you to ask your questions live. So most of the participants, their questions are asked live. So if a person maybe puts a question on the chat box, of course you'll read it out and call on him or her. Okay, this is your question. Can you please unmute and ask your question live? And if you're willing, you can also direct it to the person who you want them to respond, because we already have 3 presenters there, and they know their names, and of course you too know their names, so you can ask them. If they say it's Mokaila, it's Nahom, it's Maklet, you call either of them, respond to this question. Then you go to evaluation. Yeah, this evaluation. I think at this point, it's just the same thing that it was there at the program outline. So it's just to stressing so that they know this is what's going to happen. Like for the quiz, they should know that 10 multiple quiz, and the for the essay it's 600 to 800 words. And as this one goes, is that it's tied to entrepreneurship. So most of the things it's about entrepreneurship and implementation of the FCFTA in their countries, or maybe in Africa and things like that. And those will be shared. Questions are multiple choice, optional, and of course after they've done the quizzes, they get their results as feedback. Then participants will also presented the survey at the end of the module. Yeah, that should happen just to gauge an evaluation monitoring process to see if everyone was engaging in every session. That will be end the final session. See if they got to learn what they wanted to learn, if not, where to improve. That's the then after all successful participants will receive a certificate completion upon completion of the program. Yeah, if you now love moderating, it's at this point that you can again stress and tell them what's about certification. 4 live sessions out of 5, and you should complete your quizzes and assignments. Yeah, it appears to be long, but it should be taking some few minutes. Then the evaluation, that's still the same. Participants will also be presented. What the last slide is presented. Okay, so I need to.
So this is the last slide.
The last slide is the next one. This is slide 17. This is an extra slide. I have to delete this one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it's repeated. Yeah. And then we have the next slide is about social media. If they can engage, follow us on social media, they can also follow our partners. Those are the handles, things like that. Then finally, this is the introduction part, which it's done by YALDA for every short course. At the beginning, before the other moderators, other speakers from the different institutions can now do their presentation. Then after that, of course, it's thank you. Thank you for joining, and let's look forward to the session. So at this point, we are now it's the mics are going back to the speakers and you taking note of the program going forward. I could see that Marlet is also part of the moderation from the other side. So in case she interjects, you can just join up with her, and then you keep going. When you call out when she wants to read about a profile of one person, then it's fine. She can read out the profile. Then after that, you can let them present. In case there's anything that you want to communicate, you can do it on the direct chat is on Zoom. No, yeah, it's on Zoom. Then I can also WhatsApp. Does the same thing. Then it's always if you're ready, it's just a simple task. Provided you don't come. If you start it tensed, it means that you'll start feeling more insecure when you're going on. But if you come free, you'll see that you have not messed up the start, so you're not you don't find it hard to keep going on. The way you start, that's the energy you take it. But if you start it, maybe there are some troubles with the internet, you should not feel laid off. Then you can still pick it up. And in case you find that there's a speaker, maybe we're still having challenges on the microphone issues. That's because I want to be on the background. I want to be mostly talking. I can only chat on WhatsApp or maybe Zoom, direct Zoom you. So you can still, if you see, okay, you're called out, Mokaila is not around, then you need to go simultaneously. You need to call out now Nahom. If Nahom is not available, you need to call out Maklet. It's not also a must that the presentation should follow that order. Like I've said, Mokaila, Nahom, then Maklet. So it will depend, what's the situation in their country, maybe the availability of the internet station. If one is not available, then you should just know this one is not available, and I can still chat you on direct chat. I'll tell you maybe Nahom is not in here, Maklet or Mokaila, one of them is not in, so we're just going to the next speaker. That's what happens. Then, of course, after they've presented their part, you can still ask the speakers.
Can I ask you something?
Okay. Yes.
When do I introduce the speakers, or do they introduce themselves?
You introduce the speakers at this point. Let me see where this slide where I've left. Thank you for joining.
Thank
And
you for yeah.
we look forward to a great session. Then you can now call our speakers for today from the UNECA team will be maybe Maklet Girma, who is a trade expert at HPC UNECA. We also have Nahom Teklewald, who is a trade expert at HPC UNECA. Then we also have Mokaila Takpara, who is an economist and research fellow at HPC UNECA. Those are them.
Oh, okay.
So if Maklet feels the need to also reintroduce them with a bigger profile, like not now maybe their titles, just a profile about their background, that can still work. But this will suffice. If you've done this, it's okay. You can proceed. And as I'll say, the first presenter will be Mokaila. So you can call Mokaila out before you to come. I'll be at the end as the host, so I'll be giving the hosting rights so that you can present his screen there. Then also, if it's Nahom, I'll give him the hosting rights. Even you'll have the hosting rights. So just in case, maybe as the session goes on, my network maybe fluctuates and I'm dropped out, so you can still be on live going on with the session, because this online thing, anything can happen. So you should just be like I'll be the host, you're the co-host, Mukela is a co-host, Maklet is a co-host, then we have Nahom is also a co-host. So that everything is okay. In case of anything, the session can still go on and the participant can still engage on it, and there's no distraction on the recording going forward. So that's all about the moderation. And of course, you should always forget to recap once a speaker is done with the session on your end. So you should also be attentive. Like you just pick some points, the main points from the presentation. Then when they're done, of course, you acknowledge that with the recap. Like I've heard Mokaila, you talked about this and this, and I think this is a good thing towards this, and maybe young people can learn this and this. Okay, then from there, now let's go to Mahlet. If you are ready with your presentation, you can come in. Yes, then Mahlet does that. So you recap all of them. You can feel the need to recap more. Another short one. It just depends on you, what you pick there and what you find interesting, and it will be interesting to recap for the participants. That's what really happens. Then after that, of course, at the end of the session, you will have to acknowledge the presence of the speakers, appreciate their time for joining the session, then also acknowledge the presence of the participants, appreciate them for joining the session. Then, of course, that's after the questions. After you picked up the question, then you can ask them, okay, we are going to have a next module in July 21st, and it will be led by UNDP. You can all purpose to attend, and please remember to do your quizzes. Will be shared out, and your assignments that will be sent out soon. And you wish them all the best, and also remind them that they need to attend the full live session to get satisfied and complete their quizzes and assignment. That's it. So as I've just talked about the question Q&A session. So for the Q&A session, as I mentioned earlier, the Q&A should be done live. When a person chats a question, you read the question out, call the name, because their name should be displayed there on the chat, and ask them if they're available. Can they unmute and ask them their question live, and they can direct their question to any speaker, or if it's not direct to any speaker, they can just put it generally, and any one of them can respond, or everyone or each of them can respond. That's what's done. Most of them will have raised their hands. You will also see, because you'll be a co-host, so you can see those who have raised their hands. They don't want to chat place their questions on the chat. So you first go with those who have raised their hands. After those who have raised their hands, now we go to the chat box. The chat box, you pick the questions. After you're done with the questions, you can now read the comments. Those who want to say, okay, the session has been good, like this, okay, how can we engage in this? How can we do this? That those who will also be asking, okay, how can we join the WhatsApp group? Okay, you can ask them the WhatsApp. The link will be shared there, and of course, I'll share the link. I'll put the link on the chat box. Things like that. Then how maybe some will be asking, okay, how can we get engaged in the FCFTA, that. So you can ask the ask the UNECA team to talk about that, or also maybe to approach different conveners, or maybe ask them to participate in the inter-country consultations. Yeah, there are different information out there about the FCFTA, so they can do that. Then finally, before that part where I said that you tell them you thank the speakers. There's always one. You call them one. Is it like 30 seconds? What's their final words of encouragement to the youth? So you call Mokaila. What's your final words? If he's not available, call Nahom. It just depends. It just depends on the order you are taking. You call them. They give their 30 seconds, each one of them. And just to let you know, all of the session, apart from the part where the presentation is being displayed, and also we expect the presentation to be displayed, and the speakers will be on video, each of them, and when they are responding to the questions, they should be on video alone. And also you might be on video when you're recapping their session. So there are some points where you'll get you are on side or side on side. It's called screen side on side. Yeah, that's it. What again? You might also find that there's a part that there are three display screens. So that's how it happens. You should not you should not feel okay. Like it's always strange. Like when you find yourself, okay, this screen you're viewing each other, and you put in your mind that okay, there are some participants in the back. Maybe you shift your face from the screen, move, make some gestures, things like that. But if you still do that, it's still fine because you can still pick up. I think that's it. If you have any question, I'll be glad to answer. But that's all about. If you have not gotten anything about maybe some points you have missed, you can still recap on the other recording and also this recording. Of course, I've saved it, but it will take some time to be converted to the video before. But I still share it. But what I'm sharing immediately after this is this presentation, so that you can get to know about it. Yeah, and also as I said, moderation, you'll find that Uneka Mahlet might also be part of the moderation, so you might be coordinating with her. That should not be strange. Yeah,
Pardon?
Yeah.
Who is part of the moderation?
Yes.
I didn't hear you clearly.
I've said that you are doing the moderation, but at some point you'll find that Mahlet might also be coordinating because it's from the Uneka side. Might be that's how they do. They propose their own person to also moderate, but mainly it's YALDA that does.
So they also have a moderator on their side.
There is a presenter, but they also like to maybe call because they know the guy
They
is
would
more.
like to moderate.
Yeah, they feel okay. For that part, I think like you, so maybe Naomi can respond, Mokele can respond. But I believe you'll be doing so. If you come in, you should be doing it fully. Like you are on point with your moderation, so that they don't find it okay. Maybe they need to keep in things like that. That's it. But normally it's just YALDA that moderates to the end. So it's a 2 hours thing, and it might overlap maybe by 10 minutes if the session is still interesting. So you should just be aware about that. Make your internet stable, be at a comfortable place where maybe there's no disturbance. And good thing is at night, so you should be at a calm place. Avoid noise on your background that will interfere with with the moderation. So just stay up there. That should be fine.
Okay.
And in case there is people talking on the background, you should not be worried. Or maybe if you can see their name, you can just tell them mute. But once a person unmutes, I am able to see, and I'll be unmuting them immediately. Yeah, I'll be muting them immediately. That's that should. Any other question?
No, I don't have a question.
Okay, I think
so I'll be moderating the whole session.
Yeah, the whole session. So, and just in case Mahlet jumps in, you can still coordinate. It's just always a coordination. You may just say, okay, something like I want to add things like that. Maybe this, my Mukaila might add this. Nahom, can you add this? But I don't think they'll be moderating because they already know they are all presenters. So
So after the first speaker, I'm supposed to record what they said and then introduce the next one.
Yeah, you recap maybe a few things. Yeah, we learned this and this. This is what I can take of this. I found this interesting about this. Thank you for this part. Then you go to you call the next moderator and the next speaker. Okay, this goes on. After the session, we also recap what he or she said. Then the next, you should always recap. You cannot recap for one person and fail to recap for the other. Because they're moderating all of them. No, they're all speakers. So you have to be consistent. If you recap for this and maybe another speaker finishes and then you just say thank you, it doesn't look in order. You have to recap. And as I've said, you don't have to recap a lot of stuff, just a few things. Maybe another presentation will find it interesting, and maybe you find there's a presenter that has a lot of chats. People are chatting a lot. Oh, we like this, we like this. So you're taking note about that because you're going with them with their data. So you can also find more to recap about that session. The other one, when maybe it's always not maybe dull or something, but maybe there's no need to moderate a lot, or maybe there's still not time. Time is also not on the side. You can just recap a few things, main things that you found interesting about that presentation, this and this, which people can take. Maybe this what you think you African youth can participate in this. If this is a protocol, they're doing this, the next one, I think you can look forward up to this. And then maybe I think Mokaila, you have mentioned about maybe the AFL Trade Investment Forum. I think new participants should look up to this for 2024, 2025, things like that. You have talked about this and this. Always like that. Any other thing, like if you need any other thing, I think you can watch most of the part that Joshua was doing, because Joshua has been for a long time, he has been moderating most of the sessions. For Grant, he did the introduction part on point, and he had another engagement. But if you just want to know how to recap, doing the moderation, that's when this ends, this comes up. You can just see the Joshua session. It should be 1 hour 30 minutes at the end. He did a perfect thing. I also think I requested to set up. Is it a photo of the? Is it a screenshot of those who joined? Just them to put their cameras on, things like that. Of which, if you still request, it can be done. If the participant want, that can be done. So that's all. If you have any other question, maybe.
So tomorrow we'll be on from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Yeah, that should be 7. My time should be that should be your time. Is it 6:45? It should be 6:45.
Yes.
So that you can test your mic. You can put your camera position well. Other speakers can also test their microphone, put their camera position, and also we can play the music. At least not before when the time begins, we should be starting the moderation. So the 4 minutes, that means that should be from 6:55 your time. We should be playing the music. So people keep joining. Then at exactly 7 sharp, the session starts and it runs there non-stop up to the end. If everything goes on well, that's how it happens. And that's basically how any other moderation can be done on any other short course.
Okay.
So I think I will stop. Thank you for your time. In case of anything, you can chat on WhatsApp. And if in case you feel you still missed a point, you can still go and visit that video from Joshua. I'll be sharing this presentation and also sending the recording. But I'll have to wait to finish converting. So let me stop.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Good.